This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz, and I'm very pleased to be speaking with Mary McDonnell about the fall of the House of Usher. How are you, Mary?
I'm really excellent. How are you?
Good, good. Can you tell me, are you a fan of Edgar Allan Poe and his stories?
Of course, I know Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, we grow up, thank God, learning something about literature. But I was not a Poe fan. I didn't spend a lot of my life reading Poe. Although I do remember when I was raising my children, there was this one school that my daughter was at, and every Halloween, the parents would come in and do readings. And quite often we were reading Poe stories. So at that moment, I learned how beautiful it is to read Poe out loud. Yeah. So that's really my background with Poe.
So how did you come to this project?
Mike Flanagan reached out to me and asked me to do it. And I said, well, because I don't watch horror because I'm too much of a fraidy cat, right? So what it is that I believe everything. So if I watch horror, I can't be amazed at how beautifully it's done. All I do is absorb the fright. I believe it all. And so I can't sleep. You know what I mean? I'm afraid to walk down a dark alley or whatever. So I said to Mike, well, I've heard so much about you, but I don't really know your work. And so I'd love to find out more. And he sent me Midnight Mass. I just like threw, what is it? Stick your courage to a sticking post or whatever it is. And I got through Midnight Mass and I was blown away, just blown away. And he and Trevor Macy, I met them on a Zoom. It was COVID. And they were so smart and interesting and funny and accessible. And I knew almost everyone in the cast because they're a brilliant, brilliant ensemble. And then he sent me the script. And at first I went, oh no, I have to die again because I die a lot in my career, right? But then I got to the end and I read that final monologue and I said, there's no way I can't do this. I would kill to be able to say these words as a woman. So that's kind of how it happened. It was a miracle.
Well, I agree. I'm also not very fond of horror, but I think this is a show that's frightening because of the kinds of things that happen, but not in the way they happen necessarily. There's not a lot of, jump scares or that kind of thing. It's just pretty miserable people being horrible to each other and then sort of, in a sense, meeting what they deserve, although not necessarily.
Yeah,
What is
yeah.
it like to shoot? What was it like to shoot horror? Did it feel like you were doing that?
No, it didn't feel like we were shooting horror. It felt as true to me as any story I've ever participated in. So even sort of understanding for me that this particular woman, Madeline Usher's last image of her mother, was of a woman who had clawed her way out of a badly built casket in the dirt. And her very last image was strangling a man who had abused her. That was, in truth, Madeline's major feminist moment. And so to build a character from that trauma and move that person through the world, it was just extraordinarily believable to me. I never had a second where I did have 1 second. At the very end when Madeline Usher emerges at the very end, right? You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. Do we have to worry about spoiler or anything now?
You've heard the word spoiler. Anyone watching, keep going, please.
Okay. All right. So Madeline comes out of the basement and has the last word, as it were. I was standing there, and is that music okay for you? Can you hear that?
Not here.
Let's dance, okay? So I was standing there and I had, blood and this thing in the eyes. And I said to Mike Flanagan, so what do I do? And he goes, well, you come up the stairs and you go get him. And I said, okay. And there was 1 second where I saw myself. I stepped outside of myself, which I do not do often as an actor when I'm working. I don't remove at all. And I stepped outside of myself and I saw myself standing in this basement covered in all this stuff. And I was kind of, for a minute, thrown. And then I just recommitted, and you know, it was fun. It's actually fun. I'm so sorry. Are you sure this isn't too loud for you?
I can't, it's not, yeah, Zoom is blocking it out. It's all good.
Okay, good. Good.
So you mentioned that you worked with such a phenomenal cast. Was there anybody who you didn't really know who really surprised you and you're excited to see what they're doing next?
Oh, all of a couple, quite a few of the younger cast. Do you know what I mean? Raul, like there were so many of them. Samantha, they and I had sort of seen some of these people around, but Kate, I'd never seen, you know, because I wasn't a Mike Flanagan Flaniverse person. They were all so fluid and committed and playful. It was really kind of astonishing that you could feel, and I've been in some good ensembles, you know, it's been a long career. And I love ensemble. I love when people understand, it's like jazz. Do you know what I mean? It's like people understand rhythm and tempo and tone, all those things that frankly a lot of performers don't know are part of the agreement, right? And this particular ensemble blew my mind. They were like this every second. And in between, it was like high school, joking, you know, spitballs, whatever it was. And that was a delight. So they all impressed me, really. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of your work from Battlestar Galactica,
Oh, good.
as I know many, many are, and I'm curious what the fan interaction experience has been like for this kind of show versus that one for you.
You know, it's been very, very similar. It's been very similar because both of the shows attract really smart fans. Do you know what I'm saying? They attract a certain kind of mind and they're thinking, and they want to be challenged, extraordinarily challenged by material. So to me, it's just been a kind of a continuation of let's really talk turkey about what's going on in the world and how we will survive any of it, you know? So I've found that there really is, it's just more, you know? It's very interesting to me because I thought, apropos your question, it would feel maybe different, it would be a different kind of fan. I just feel like it's in both. I'll tell you the difference. When Battlestar first came out, I and still have these just really strong female fans who loved Laura Roslin like I've never been loved in my life. You know what I mean? And they were all really smart all over the world because they went all over to these things. And I met them everywhere and they met each other through it. I'm finding now a whole new generation of young women who are Flaniverse people, who are, I'm seeing a whole other aspect of who women are in their 20s and 30s culturally in a broader sense than in my personal life. And they're the same, but very different in that they are more fluid now than ever before, and braver and more colorful and broader. So whatever we're doing for women in entertainment, it's good. I mean, there's still a lot of bad, but it's good.
I also watched you in The Closer and Major Crimes, and I feel like that's one that also has a dedicated group of people, but I think it's there's not as much of a cross section because it's probably an audience that skews older in some ways and is not, you know, it's a little bit more true to life than these other
Well, yeah,
programs.
I mean, it was a crime dramedy, like so it's a completely different. But I will say that because of these conventions, these sort of conventions that I started out doing, what were called sci-fi conventions, and now they are truly pop culture and they're becoming sort of mainstream too. So I will meet people like Like there'll be a fan from Battlestar, and then a fan from House of Usher, and then some older people from Dances with Wolves, and then Major Crimes, because it's been airing again, has got a whole new group of people. And back when I was doing Major Crimes, if I went out to do a Battlestar or a sci-fi con or whatever during that time, I didn't meet Major Crimes people, hardly. And now, right, Aaron? Like they're flooding in. There's more and more people watching it. So it's really delightful to come to these. I recommend them to everyone.
And I don't know
Have
how
you
much
ever been
time
to
you have.
one? Have you ever been
I
to a
haven't,
con?
no, I haven't. I've been to film festivals, which I think has a certain kind of energy, but no, I'd love to
Fabulous.
try something like this soon.
It's kind of amazing. It really is extraordinary because clearly I like to talk. And so what I love about these is that you really can engage with the people who keep you going. They they're the ones. It's your if you're not connecting with the fans, you don't have a career, you know? And so it's like you hear what is meaningful to them truly, not what the studio or whatever felt like, no, this will be good. And I find that very valuable and very, very touching.
I'm curious also what you watch and if there's anything that you feel is particularly awards worthy, a show or a performance recently.
Um, yes, of course, there's so many things. Awards worthy, many, 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 many performances. I think we're in pretty good shape on television. You know what I mean? When it comes to this sort of miniseries form, particularly, right? Um, and I don't want to sort of get to one or the other performance, but I will say that what I'm really loving about, which is what's happening, and we're all wondering where we're headed in the industry, you know? But what I loved was beginning to happen before, well, actually through COVID, and then the strike sort of held everything up in a way, and now we're in a little bit of not sure yet, right? But what I really loved was happening is that we were telling stories that were outrageous at times, that broke every rule in the book, that exposed human beings for the diverse, incredibly idiosyncratic humans they were. But we were also telling kind of really typical, you know, rom-com. There's such a variety of how human beings live now being reflected. And there's a tremendous amount of great sci-fi going on. There's Mike Flanagan will keep continuing to blow people's minds. I'm just in general really excited.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy convention schedule to talk to me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this one.
Thank you so much. You're lovely.